First contact shock. The vast emptiness of space stretched before the Zarkon exploration vessel, Nebula Seeker. Captain Ixora, a tall, slender being with iridescent scales and 4 arms, stood at the helm, her large compound eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. "Report, Science Officer Zix," she commanded, her voice a melodic trill. Zix, a shorter, stockier alien with tentacle-like appendages for limbs, glided towards the captain. "We've detected an anomaly in Sector 7 Gamma, Captain. It appears to be a previously undiscovered solar system." Ixora's antennae twitched with excitement. The Zarkon Imperium had been exploring this quadrant of the galaxy for centuries, mapping countless star systems and cataloging various forms of life. But an entirely new system. This was unprecedented. "Set course immediately," she ordered. "Maximum sublight speed." As the Nebula Seeker approached the system, the crew's excitement grew. Initial scans revealed a diverse array of planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star, but it was the third planet from the Sun that caught their attention. "Captain," Zix called out, his voice quivering with a mix of awe and disbelief. "The third planet, it's teeming with life, and not just simple organisms. We're detecting signs of advanced civilization." Ixora's scales shimmered with anticipation. "Show me," she commanded. A 3-dimensional hologram of the blue-green planet materialized in the center of the bridge. As they zoomed in, the crew gasped collectively. The planet's surface was a tapestry of sprawling cities, intricate transportation networks, and vast agricultural regions. Satellites orbited the world, and primitive spacecraft could be seen entering and leaving the atmosphere. "Incredible," Ixora whispered. "How could we have missed this?" Zix frantically analyzed the incoming data. "Captain, you're not going to believe this. According to our scans, this civilization has only achieved spaceflight within the last century. Their technological advancement is unprecedented." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Most species took millennia to progress from basic tool use to space exploration. The Zarkon themselves had taken nearly 10,000 years to achieve their current level of technology. "What else can you tell me about them?" Ixora asked, her eyes never leaving the holographic display. Zix's tentacles danced over his console. "They call themselves humans, and their planet is Earth. They appear to be bipedal mammals, with a complex social structure and diverse cultures. But Captain, there's more." He paused, double-checking his readings. "Their history is marked by near-constant conflict, wars, revolutions, social upheavals, yet they survived and thrived. Their adaptability is remarkable." Ixora frowned. A species so prone to violence should have destroyed itself long ago. How had they managed to advance so quickly? "Show me their entertainment broadcasts," she ordered, hoping to gain insight into their psychology. The hologram shifted, displaying a montage of human media. Music filled the bridge, a cacophony of styles and rhythms unlike anything the Zarkon had ever heard. Images flashed by, works of art that stirred emotions the aliens couldn't quite name, films depicting everything from heartwarming tales of love to terrifying visions of apocalyptic futures. "By the cosmic egg," one of the junior officers exclaimed. "Their imaginations are boundless." Ixora nodded slowly. "This explains much. Their creativity, their drive, it's fueled by their conflicts, their differences. They don't just survive adversity, they thrive on it." She turned to her communications officer. "Contact the Imperium immediately. We need to report this discovery and request guidance." Hours later, the response came. The Zarkon High Council was both intrigued and alarmed by the discovery of humanity. They ordered the Nebula Seeker to initiate first contact, but warned of extreme caution. As Ixora prepared her crew for the monumental task ahead, she couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The humans' rapid advancement and warlike history made them unpredictable. Yet, their creativity and resilience hinted at untapped potential. Perhaps, she mused to herself, this is the beginning of a new era for the galaxy. The nebula seeker descended through Earth's atmosphere, cloaked to avoid detection. They chose a remote location for their landing, a vast desert in a region the humans called Australia. As the ship touched down, kicking up swirls of red dust, Ixora addressed her crew one final time. "Remember, we are ambassadors of the Zarkon Imperium. Our goal is peaceful contact and exchange of knowledge, but be prepared for anything. These humans have already proven to be full of surprises." The landing ramp lowered, and Ixora took a deep breath of the alien air. It was time to meet the humans and usher in a new chapter in galactic history. Little did she know, humanity was about to shock the cosmos in ways no one could have predicted. The age of Earth's isolation was over, and the galaxy would never be the same. Cultural exchange gone wrong. The Australian outback shimmered under the harsh midday sun as a small group of human officials cautiously approached the alien vessel. Dr. Samantha Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stood at the forefront, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Remember," she whispered to her colleagues, "we represent all of humanity now. Let's make a good first impression." As the landing ramp of the Nebula Seeker lowered, revealing Captain Ixora and her delegation, an audible gasp rippled through the human group. Despite years of speculation and preparation for this moment, the reality of meeting an alien species left them momentarily stunned. Ixora stepped forward, her scales shimmering in the sunlight. She raised all four of her arms in what the Zarkon considered a universal gesture of peace. "Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace and in the spirit of mutual understanding." Dr. Chen, recovering her composure, stepped forward to meet the alien captain. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "We are honored to meet you and eager to learn from one another." The initial exchange went smoothly, with both sides expressing hope for a productive relationship. However, as the days passed and the cultural exchange began in earnest, cracks began to appear in the facade of harmony. The first major hurdle came during a state dinner hosted by the United Nations. The Zarkon, being a hierarchical species, were appalled by the casual way some human leaders interacted with their subordinates. What the humans saw as friendly camaraderie, the aliens interpreted as a lack of respect and discipline. Conversely, humans found the rigid Zarkon social structures stifling. During a tour of a Zarkon research facility, Dr. Chen innocently questioned one of Ixora's decisions, leading to a tense moment that nearly derailed the entire visit. "In our culture," Ixora explained later, her voice tight with barely contained frustration, "questioning a superior's decision publicly is a grave insult." Dr. Chen apologized profusely, but the damage was done. The incident highlighted the vast gulf between their species' social norms. As news of the alien visitors spread across Earth, public reaction was mixed. While many welcomed the opportunity for interstellar friendship, others viewed the Zarkon with suspicion and fear. Conspiracy theories ran rampant, and protests erupted in several major cities. The Zarkon, for their part, were equally conflicted. They marveled at humanity's rapid technological progress and creative problem-solving, but were deeply unsettled by our species' violent history and ongoing conflicts. During a private meeting with Dr. Chen, Ixora confided, "Your people fascinate us, Dr. Chen. In mere centuries, you've achieved what took us millennia. But your propensity for violence, it terrifies many in the Imperium." Chen sighed, understanding the aliens' concerns all too well. "Violence is part of our history, yes, but so is compassion, creativity, and an unrelenting drive to improve ourselves and our world." The cultural exchange continued, with both sides trying to navigate the treacherous waters of interspecies diplomacy. The Zarkon shared some of their advanced medical technology, while humans offered insights into art, music, and literature. However, tensions reached a boiling point during a joint scientific expedition to study Earth's diverse ecosystems. A group of eco-terrorists, fearing alien contamination of Earth's biosphere, attacked the research camp. In the chaos that ensued, several Zarkon scientists were injured. The incident sent shockwaves through both human and alien communities. The Zarkon High Council demanded an immediate cessation of all exchange programs and began preparations to leave Earth. As the situation teetered on the brink of diplomatic disaster, an unexpected act of kindness changed everything. Zix, the Nebula Seeker's science officer, had been gravely injured in the attack. Earth's medical facilities, while advanced by human standards, were ill-equipped to treat alien physiology. Dr. Chen, refusing to give up, worked tirelessly alongside human and Zarkon medical teams to save Zix's life. For 3 days and nights, Chen barely slept, poring over alien medical texts and collaborating with Zarkon doctors via holographic conference. Her dedication and ingenuity impressed even the most skeptical of the aliens. On the 4th day, Zix regained consciousness. As news spread of the human doctor's extraordinary efforts, the mood began to shift. Ixora, moved by Chen's actions, addressed the Zarkon High Council. Yes, humans are capable of great violence, she admitted, but they are also capable of astounding compassion and resilience. Dr. Chen's actions prove that there is much our species can learn from each other. The High Council, swayed by Ixora's impassioned plea and Chen's demonstration of human potential, agreed to continue the cultural exchange program, albeit with enhanced security measures. As the crisis passed, both humans and Zarkon found themselves re-evaluating their preconceptions. The incident had brought their differences into sharp relief, but it had also highlighted their shared capacity for empathy and cooperation. Dr. Chen, exhausted but elated, stood with Ixora on the observation deck of the Nebula Seeker, gazing down at the blue-green sphere of Earth. "We still have a long way to go," Chen mused, "but I believe this is just the beginning of a beautiful friendship between our species." Ixora's scales shimmered in agreement. "Indeed, Dr. Chen. And perhaps together, we can achieve things neither of our species could accomplish alone." As they stood there, contemplating the future, neither could have imagined the galactic storm that was brewing on the horizon, a challenge that would test the newfound alliance between humans and Zarkon to its very limits. The cultural exchange had been rocky, filled with misunderstandings and near disasters, but it had laid the groundwork for something greater. In the face of the coming threat, this hard-won understanding between humans and Zarkon would prove to be the galaxy's greatest asset, the galactic challenge. As Earth and the Zarkon Imperium cautiously deepened their alliance, the galaxy held its breath. News of humanity's discovery had spread like wildfire across the cosmic community, with reactions ranging from curiosity to outright fear. But all of that was about to be overshadowed by a threat that would shake the very foundations of galactic civilization. It began with a distress signal, picked up simultaneously by Earth's deep space arrays and Zarkon outposts. The message, garbled and fragmented, spoke of an ancient evil awakening from millennia of slumber. At first, many dismissed it as a hoax or the ravings of some isolated colony. But as more reports flooded in from the fringes of known space, the terrible truth became clear. The Void Devourers, a nightmarish species thought to be nothing more than a legend, had returned. On Earth, emergency meetings of the United Nations Security Council were called. Dr. Chen found herself thrust into the role of humanity's primary liaison with the Zarkon, working tirelessly to coordinate a response to this unprecedented threat. "What exactly are we dealing with?" asked the UN Secretary-General, his face grave as he addressed the assembled world leaders and alien representatives. Ixora, now serving as the Zarkon ambassador to Earth, stepped forward. Her usual shimmer was subdued, reflecting the gravity of the situation. "The Void Devourers are unlike anything you've encountered before. They don't conquer or colonize. They consume. Entire planets, stripped of all resources, left as lifeless husks in their wake." A murmur of disbelief and horror rippled through the assembly. "But surely," interjected the Chinese representative, "with our combined technologies, we can stop them." Ixora's compound eyes dimmed. The last time they appeared, eons ago, they nearly wiped out all advanced life in the galaxy. It took the combined efforts of every spacefaring race, many of which no longer exist, to drive them back into the dark between galaxies. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity, barely out of its cosmic cradle, was facing an enemy that had nearly destroyed far more advanced civilizations. It was Dr. Chen who broke the silence. Then we don't face them alone. We call on every race, every world that can fight. We form a coalition unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Her words, broadcast across Earth and transmitted to countless alien worlds, became a rallying cry. Within days, representatives from dozens of species began arriving on Earth. The planet, so recently introduced to the galactic community, now found itself at the center of the greatest alliance in cosmic history. As preparations for war ramped up, humanity's unique approach to problem-solving began to shine. While other races focused on conventional space warfare, human scientists and strategists proposed unorthodox tactics that left their alien allies both impressed and bewildered. One such proposal came from Dr. HFY, a brilliant but eccentric astrophysicist. What if, she suggested during a strategy meeting, instead of trying to destroy the void devourers, we redirect them? The alien representatives looked at her in confusion, but Ixora leaned forward, intrigued. Explained Dr. Corey. Aisha pulled up a holographic model of the galaxy. The devourers travel through space-time in a way we don't fully understand. But what if we could create a sort of cosmic highway, leading them away from inhabited systems and towards dead zones or even black holes? The idea was met with skepticism from many of the alien races, who preferred more direct military solutions. But the Zarkon, having witnessed human ingenuity firsthand, threw their support behind the proposal. As the coalition raced to prepare its defenses, the first reports of void devourer attacks began to trickle in. Outer colonies fell silent, entire systems going dark in a matter of days. The enemy was moving faster than anyone had anticipated. Humanity, despite its relative inexperience in interstellar warfare, refused to succumb to despair. Instead, a fierce determination took hold. Factories worldwide were retooled for wartime production. The best minds from every field were recruited to develop new technologies and strategies. Even age-old rivals set aside their differences in the face of this existential threat. One particularly poignant moment came when a joint Russian-American space station became the staging ground for the coalition's first major counteroffensive. As cosmonauts and astronauts worked side by side with alien engineers, the station's commander made a brief but powerful speech. Today, we are not Russians, Americans, Chinese, or European. We are not even merely human. We are the defenders of life itself, standing against the darkness that threatens to engulf us all, and we will not go quietly into the night. His words, translated and broadcast across the coalition fleet, sparked a wave of morale-boosting messages from Earth. Psalms, artwork, and messages of hope flooded the communication channels, touching even the most stoic of alien warriors. As the coalition fleet prepared for its first major engagement with the void devourers, tension ran high. The enemy's technological superiority was clear, and many of the alien races counseled caution, even retreat. But it was a human admiral, Teresa Ramos, who rallied the fleet with a daring plan. "We may not match them in firepower," she declared, her holographic image flickering before the assembled alien commanders. "But we have something they don't: unpredictability. They faced organized resistance before. Let's show them something new." Her strategy involved using smaller, more maneuverable ships to harry the devourers' flanks, while the main fleet executed a series of unpredictable jumps, keeping the enemy off balance. It was a risky plan, one that went against millennia of established space combat doctrine. As the battle commenced, the alien commanders watched in a mixture of horror and awe as human ships executed maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Pilots pushed their crafts to the absolute limit, flying with a reckless abandon that confused and frustrated the void devourers. For the first time since their return, the Devourers were forced to retreat. The victory, while small in the grand scheme of the war, was monumental in its implications. Humanity had proven its worth on the galactic stage, earning the respect, and in some cases, the fear, of their alien allies. As the coalition regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the war, Dr. Chen found a moment of quiet to reflect. Looking out at the stars from the observation deck of the flagship, she mused to Ixora, when we first met, I never imagined we'd be here, fighting side by side against a threat to all life. Ixora's scales shimmered with a mix of emotions. Nor did I, Dr. Chen, but I'm grateful that when the darkness came, Earth stood with us. Perhaps together, we can achieve the impossible. Humanity, despite its relative inexperience in interstellar warfare, refused to succumb to despair. Instead, a fierce determination took hold. Factories worldwide were retooled for wartime production. The best minds from every field were recruited to develop new technologies and strategies. Even age-old rivals set aside their differences in the face of this existential threat. One particularly poignant moment came when a joint Russian-American space station became the staging ground for the coalition's first major counteroffensive. As cosmonauts and astronauts worked side by side with alien engineers, the station's commander made a brief but powerful speech. Today, we are not Russians, Americans, Chinese, or European. We are not even merely human. We are the defenders of life itself, standing against the darkness that threatens to engulf us all, and we will not go quietly into the night. His words, translated and broadcast across the coalition fleet, sparked a wave of morale-boosting messages from Earth. Songs, artwork, and messages of hope flooded the communication channels, touching even the most stoic of alien warriors. As the coalition fleet prepared for its first major engagement with the Void Devourers, tension ran high. The enemy's technological superiority was clear, and many of the alien races counseled caution, even retreat. But it was a human admiral, Teresa Ramos, who rallied the fleet with a daring plan. We may not match them in firepower, she declared, her holographic image flickering before the assembled alien commanders, but we have something they don't: unpredictability. They faced organized resistance before. Let's show them something new. Her strategy involved using smaller, more maneuverable ships to harry the Devourers' flanks, while the main fleet executed a series of unpredictable jumps, keeping the enemy off balance. It was a risky plan, one that went against millennia of established space combat doctrine. As the battle commenced, the alien commanders watched in a mixture of horror and awe as human ships executed maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Pilots pushed their crafts to the absolute limit, flying with a reckless abandon that confused and frustrated the Void Devourers. For the first time since their return, the Devourers were forced to retreat. The victory, while small in the grand scheme of the war, was monumental in its implications. Humanity had proven its worth on the galactic stage, earning the respect, and in some cases, the fear, of their alien allies. As the coalition regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the war, Dr. Chen found a moment of quiet to reflect. Looking out at the stars from the observation deck of the flagship, she mused to Ixora, when we first met, I never imagined we'd be here, fighting side by side against a threat to all life. Ixora's scales shimmered with a mix of emotions. Nor did I, Dr. Chen, but I'm grateful that when the darkness came, Earth stood with us. Perhaps together, we can achieve the impossible. As they stood there, watching the fleet prepare for the battles ahead, both human and alien felt a glimmer of hope. The war was far from over, but humanity had shown that it would not go down without a fight, and in doing so, they had changed the course of galactic history forever. The Void Devourers may have awakened an ancient evil, but they had also roused something equally powerful: the indomitable human spirit, now allied with the best the galaxy had to offer. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of all life in the cosmos. Humanity unleashed. The initial victory against the Void Devourers had been hard-won, But it was only the beginning. As the Galactic Coalition regrouped and planned their next moves, humanity's role in the conflict continued to evolve and expand in ways that both impressed and unnerved their alien allies. Admiral Ramos' unorthodox tactics had proven effective, but the Void Devourers were quick to adapt. Each subsequent encounter grew more challenging as the enemy employed new strategies to counter the Coalition's efforts. It was clear that humanity would need to dig even deeper into its well of ingenuity to turn the tide. Dr. Chen found herself working around the clock, coordinating efforts between human scientists and their alien counterparts. One afternoon, as she pored over battle reports in the Coalition's Central Command Center, a young lieutenant burst into the room, breathless with excitement. "Dr. Chen, you need to see this immediately." The holographic display flickered to life, showing footage from the front lines. A small squadron of human ships was engaged with a Void Devourer vessel easily 10 times their size. But instead of retreating or being destroyed, the human ships were dancing. There was no other word for it. They moved in intricate patterns, weaving in and out of the Devourer's attack range with a grace that seemed impossible for machines of war. As Chen watched, mouth agape, the human ships suddenly broke formation, each racing towards the Devourer from a different angle. "What in the world?" Ixora murmured, her scales flickering in confusion. The Void Devourer, unable to track all the targets at once, focused its main weapon on the largest human ship. But at the last second, that ship veered away, revealing a smaller vessel in its shadow. Before the Devourer could react, the smaller ship launched a payload directly into the enemy's vulnerable spot, causing a chain reaction that ripped the massive vessel apart. As cheers erupted in the command center, Chen turned to the lieutenant. "Explain." "It's the Hive Mind project, ma'am," the young officer said, grinning. "We've been working on it in secret. It allows our pilots to link their minds directly to their ships and each other, acting as a single organism. The Devourers can't predict our movements because we're not thinking like individuals anymore." The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only embraced neural interface technology, but had taken it to a level that allowed for unprecedented coordination in combat. It was brilliant, revolutionary, and more than a little terrifying. Ixora's reaction mirrored the thoughts of many in the Coalition. "This is unprecedented," she said slowly. "The level of neural integration required for such coordination, it borders on the loss of individual identity." Chen nodded, understanding the alien's concern. "It's a volunteer program," she assured Ixora, "and the effects are temporary. But you're right, it's a big step. One we felt was necessary given the stakes." As news of the Hive Mind's success spread, more human pilots volunteered for the program. The Coalition's alien members watched with a mixture of awe and unease as humanity pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in warfare. But the Hive Mind was just the beginning. Across Earth and its colonies, humans were innovating at a pace that left even the most advanced alien races struggling to keep up. In the depths of the Marianas Trench, a team of marine biologists and geneticists had been studying extremophile organisms, looking for ways to enhance the Coalition fleet's ability to operate in hostile environments. Their work led to the development of bioengineered hull coatings that could adapt to different types of space radiation and cosmic threats. Meanwhile, in the deserts of Nevada, quantum physicists had made a breakthrough in understanding the Void Devourer's faster-than-light travel. By reverse engineering captured Devourer tech and combining it with cutting-edge human theories, they were on the verge of developing a new form of propulsion that could give the Coalition a decisive advantage. Even in the realm of psychological warfare, humanity was making strides. A team of linguists, anthropologists, and AI specialists had been working tirelessly to decipher the Void Devourer's communication patterns. Their goal was ambitious: to find a way to confuse or even communicate with the enemy. As these innovations began to turn the tide of war, the Coalition's alien members found themselves re-evaluating their perceptions of humanity. The The same creativity and adaptability that had initially unsettled them was now proving to be their greatest asset in the fight against extinction. During a high-level strategy meeting, the Zarkon High Commander, Exilvax, voiced what many were thinking. When we first encountered humans, we saw them as primitive, even dangerous. But now I wondered if they might be the key to our survival. Dr. Chen, present for the meeting, felt a swell of pride at the alien leader's words, but she also recognized the weight of responsibility they carried. "We're giving everything we've got to this fight," she said, "but we're also changing in ways we don't fully understand. The question is, what will humanity look like when this war is over?" It was a sobering thought, one that lingered in the minds of both humans and aliens as the conflict raged on. The Void Devourers were being pushed back, system by system, but at what cost? The turning point came during the Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Void Devourers had amassed a massive fleet, intent on breaking through to Earth's solar system. It was here that humanity would unleash its full potential, for better or worse. As the Coalition fleet engaged the enemy, a new weapon came online. Developed in secret by a collaboration of Earth's top minds, it was a gravity manipulation device capable of creating localized singularities. The plan was to use these artificial black holes to trap and destroy the Devourer ships. The risk was enormous. If the device malfunctioned, it could potentially tear apart the very fabric of space-time. But faced with the alternative of letting the Devourers reach Earth, the Coalition leadership gave the go-ahead. What followed was a battle that would be remembered for millennia. Human ships, their crews linked in a vast hive mind, danced through the chaos of combat with impossible precision. They herded Devourer vessels into kill zones where the gravity weapons awaited, creating a terrifying ballet of destruction. Alien observers watched in stunned silence as humanity unleashed its full fury. The same species that had been discovering electricity just a few centuries ago was now wielding the fundamental forces of the universe as weapons. As the last Devourer ship vanished into a swirling vortex of distorted space-time, a cheer went up across the Coalition fleet. The path to Earth was secure, and for the first time since the war began, victory seemed possible. In the aftermath of the battle, as the Coalition regrouped and assessed their losses, Dr. Chen found herself once again standing with Ixora, gazing out at the stars. "We did it," Chen said softly, her voice a mix of exhaustion and disbelief. Ixora's scales shimmered with a complex array of emotions. "You did it," she corrected. "Humanity, you've surpassed all our expectations. And if I'm honest, you've frightened us a little too." Chen nodded, understanding. "We've changed so much, so quickly. Sometimes I barely recognize what we've become." "But that's what makes you unique," Ixora said. "Your ability to adapt, to push boundaries. It's terrifying, yes, but it's also exactly what the galaxy needed to survive this threat." As they stood there, contemplating the future, both knew that the war was far from over. The Void Devourers had been pushed back, but not defeated. The final battles would determine not just the fate of the galaxy, but also the future of humanity itself. The species that had emerged from its isolated corner of the cosmos had proven itself on the galactic stage. But as humanity prepared for the final push against the Void Devourers, a question lingered. In saving the galaxy, would they lose themselves, the final push? The victory at Proxima Centauri had shifted the momentum of the war, but the Void Devourers were far from defeated. As the Coalition prepared for what they hoped would be the final offensive, tensions ran high. The stakes couldn't be higher. The fate of not just humanity or the Zarkon, but all sentient life in the galaxy hung in the balance. Dr. Chen found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. The Coalition's War Council had convened on Earth, transforming the UN headquarters in New York into a hub of interstellar strategy. Representatives from dozens of alien races crowded the halls. Their diverse forms a testament to the unprecedented nature of this alliance. In the main chamber, holographic displays showed the current state of the galaxy. Vast swaths of space glowed an ominous red, marking territory consumed by the void devourers. But there were glimmers of hope. Blue points of light representing coalition strongholds and recent victories. Admiral Ramos stood before the assembled leaders, her face etched with determination. We've pushed them back, but our intelligence suggests they're regrouping for a final massive assault. We need to strike first, and we need to strike hard. The plan she outlined was audacious. Using data gathered from their previous encounters and the breakthroughs in Void Devourer communication, they had identified what appeared to be the enemy's central command structure, a massive biomechanical construct hidden in the depths of the galactic core. If we can destroy this, Ramos explained, we believe it will throw their entire force into disarray. It's our best chance to end this war once and for all. The alien representatives murmured among themselves. The galactic core was a treacherous region, filled with intense radiation, gravitational anomalies, and other hazards that made conventional travel nearly impossible. It was Dr. Chen who spoke up, her voice carrying across the chamber. We have a solution for that. She nodded to a group of human scientists who had been working tirelessly on a new project. Allow me to introduce Project Pathfinder. The holographic display shifted, showing a sleek, almost organic-looking vessel. This ship, Chen explained, combines our gravity manipulation technology with the bioengineered adaptations we developed. It can create stable wormholes, allowing us to bypass the worst of the core's dangers and strike directly at the heart of the Devourer command. The room erupted in a mix of excitement and skepticism. The technology Chen described was far beyond anything the Coalition had seen before. Some of the alien representatives looked uncomfortable, clearly unsettled by how quickly humanity had advanced. Ixora, sensing the unease, stepped forward. I understand your concerns, she addressed her fellow aliens. But I've witnessed humanity's capabilities firsthand. If they say they can do this, I believe them. Her words carried weight. The Zarkon had been humanity's first alien contact, and their support had been crucial throughout the war. Slowly, the other representatives began to nod in agreement. As the council debated the finer points of the strategy, Dr. Chen slipped out of the chamber, needing a moment to collect her thoughts. She found herself on a balcony overlooking the city, the New York skyline a mix of familiar skyscrapers and new alien-influenced architecture. Quite a view, isn't it? A voice said behind her. Chen turned to see Admiral Ramos joining her on the balcony. It's hard to believe how much has changed, Chen replied. Sometimes I wonder if we've gone too far, too fast. Ramos nodded, understanding. I've had the same thoughts, but look at what we've accomplished. She gestured to the city below, where humans and aliens walked side by side. We've united the galaxy in ways no one thought possible, and now we have a real chance at ending this war. Chen sighed. But at what cost? The things we've done, the lines we've crossed. Will we recognize ourselves when this is over? That, Ramos said softly, is a question we'll have to face when the time comes. For now, we need to focus on survival. Their conversation was interrupted by an aide rushing onto the balcony. Dr. Admiral, you're needed in the command center immediately. The Void Devourers had launched their assault earlier than anticipated. Across the galaxy, Coalition outposts were reporting massive enemy fleets emerging from hyperspace. The final battle had begun. What followed was a frenzy of activity as the Coalition scrambled to respond. The Pathfinder project, still in its testing phases, was rushed into action. Dr. Chen found herself aboard the prototype vessel, surrounded by a crew of humanity's best and brightest, along with key alien advisors. As the ship prepared to make its historic jump into the galactic core, Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. They were about to attempt something never before conceived, let alone tried. Pathfinder is ready, the ship's AI announced, its voice eerily calm given the circumstances. Chen looked around at her crew, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes. Let's make history, she said. With a flash of energy that momentarily outshone the stars themselves, Pathfinder vanished, plunging into the heart of the galaxy. The journey through the wormhole was unlike anything they had experienced. Reality itself seemed to twist and warp around them. But true to its design, Pathfinder protected them, its adaptive hull absorbing the intense radiation and gravitational forces. When they emerged, they found themselves in a realm of cosmic fire and fury. The galactic core seethed with energy, a maelstrom of newborn and dying stars. And at its center, a construct of impossible scale, the Void Devourer command. By the cosmic egg, Ixora breathed, her scales pulsing with a mix of awe and terror. There was no time for hesitation. As Pathfinder approached the massive structure, it unleashed its payload, a combination of gravity weapons and repurposed Devourer technology designed to unravel the very fabric of the construct. The response was immediate and devastating. Swarms of Devourer ships converged on them, their weapons capable of rending space itself. The battle that ensued was beyond description, a clash of technologies so advanced they bordered on the mystical. Pathfinder danced through the chaos, its human crew linked through an advanced version of the hive mind, moving with impossible precision. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but their adaptability and sheer determination kept them in the fight. As the battle raged, Dr. Chen and her team worked feverishly to decipher the Devourer communications. If they could disrupt the enemy's coordination, they might just have a chance. Hours stretched into what felt like days. Pathfinder took hit after hit, its adaptive hull straining to its limits. But slowly, inexorably, they pushed closer to their goal. In a moment that would be remembered for millennia to come, Dr. Chen made the breakthrough they needed. Using a combination of advanced linguistics, quantum computing, and sheer human intuition, she cracked the Devourer code. "Now," she shouted, her voice hoarse with exhaustion. A signal burst forth from Pathfinder, carrying a message crafted in the Devourer's own language. It spoke of paradoxes, of logical loops that even their vast hive mind couldn't process. For a crucial moment, the enemy faltered. It was all the opening they needed. Pathfinder unleashed its final weapon, a gravity pulse of unprecedented power. The Devourer command structure began to collapse in on itself, dragging surrounding space along with it. As alarms blared throughout Pathfinder, warning of imminent structural failure, Chen knew they had only moments to escape. With the last of its power, the ship opened a return wormhole, hurling itself back towards friendly space. They emerged near Earth, their ship barely holding together. As coalition vessels rushed to their aid, the crew of Pathfinder watched in awe as a shockwave of energy rippled across the galaxy. Everywhere, Devourer ships were going dark, the connection to their central command severed. The war was over. Humanity, against all odds, had led the galaxy to victory. As medical teams swarmed Pathfinder, Dr. Chen found herself face to face with Ixora. The alien's scales shimmered with an emotion Chen had never seen before. "You did it," Ixora said softly. "You saved us all." Chen, exhausted beyond measure, managed a small smile. "We did it," she corrected, "all of us together." As the reality of their victory began to sink in, Chen knew that the real challenges were just beginning. The galaxy had been saved, but it had also been changed forever. Humanity had proven itself on the cosmic stage, but at what cost? And what role would they play in the new galactic order that was sure to emerge? These were questions for another day. For now, as cheers erupted across Earth and 1,000 alien worlds, Dr. Chen allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. They had faced the darkness, and they had prevailed. The dawn of a new era for the galaxy had arrived, and humanity would be at its forefront. A new galactic order. In the months following the defeat of the Void Devourers, the galaxy entered a period of profound transformation. The Coalition, forged in the crucible of war, now faced the monumental task of rebuilding and redefining interstellar relations in a post-war cosmos. Earth, once a backwater planet unknown to the galactic community, had become the focal point of this new era. The United Nations headquarters in New York, still bearing scars from the final battles, had been expanded into a sprawling complex that now served as the seat of the newly formed Galactic Council. Dr. Samantha Chen, hailed as one of the heroes of the war, found herself thrust into a new role as Earth's primary representative to this council. On a crisp autumn morning, she stood before the assembled delegates, a diverse array of beings from across the known universe. "We stand at a crossroads," Chen began, her voice carrying across the chamber. "The threat that united us has been vanquished, but the challenges we face are far from over. How do we move forward? How do we ensure that the sacrifices made in this war were not in vain?" The chamber buzzed with murmurs and translations. The questions Chen posed were on everyone's minds. The galaxy had changed irrevocably, and old power structures had been shattered. Ixora, now serving as the Zarkon representative, was the first to speak. "Humanity has proven itself beyond any doubt," she said, her scales shimmering with respect. "Your species' ingenuity and adaptability were key to our victory. We believe you should play a central role in shaping our collective future." This sentiment was echoed by many, but not all. Some delegates, particularly from older, more established civilizations, expressed concern about humanity's rapid technological advancement and their seemingly innate propensity for pushing boundaries. "We cannot ignore the potential dangers," a representative from a silicon-based species argued. "The very traits that made humans effective against the Devourers could pose a threat to galactic stability if left unchecked." The debate raged for days, with impassioned arguments on all sides. Dr. Chen listened carefully, understanding the weight of the moment. Humanity's actions in the coming days and weeks would set the tone for their place in the galaxy for generations to come. Finally, Chen took the floor again. "I understand your concerns," she said, addressing the entire assembly. "Humanity's history is not without its dark chapters. We've struggled with our own destructive tendencies, our capacity for both great good and terrible harm. But it's precisely because of this struggle that we're uniquely positioned to help guide the galaxy forward." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We don't claim to have all the answers, but we're committed to working alongside all of you to build a better future. One where the diversity of our species is seen as a strength, not a threat. Where we can harness our collective knowledge and abilities to explore, to create, to thrive together." Her speech was met with a moment of silence, followed by a growing wave of approval. Even those who had been skeptical seemed moved by her words. In the end, a compromise was reached. Earth would indeed play a significant role in the new galactic order, but with a system of checks and balances to ensure no single species could dominate. The Galactic Council would serve as the primary governing body, with representatives from all member worlds. As the details were hammered out, Dr. Chen found herself in quiet conversation with Admiral Ramos and Ixora on one of the building's observation decks. The New York skyline stretched before them, a mix of human and alien architecture symbolizing the new era of cooperation. "It's really happening, isn't it?" Ramos mused, a note of wonder in her voice. "We're not just part of a larger galactic community, we're helping to shape it." Ixora's scales shimmered in agreement. "Your species has come so far in such a short time. It's both inspiring and, I must admit, a little terrifying." Chen nodded, understanding. "We've been forced to confront aspects of ourselves we never knew existed. The neural interfaces, the genetic modifications, the way we pushed the boundaries of physics, there's no going back from that." "But perhaps that's not a bad thing," Ramos suggested. "We've always been explorers at heart. Now we have an entire galaxy to explore, not just physically, but in terms of knowledge, culture, possibility." As they spoke, news came in from across Earth. The public reaction to the new galactic accords was overwhelmingly positive. Humanity, it seemed, was ready to embrace its new role in the cosmos. But challenges remained. Earth itself was still recovering from the war, with much of its infrastructure needing to be rebuilt. There were also concerns about how to integrate alien technologies and knowledge without losing what made humanity unique. Moreover, there were still pockets of void devourer activity in distant parts of the galaxy. While no longer the existential threat they once were, they served as a reminder that vigilance was still necessary. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the city, Dr. Chen felt a mix of emotions wash over her. Pride in how far humanity had come, hope for the future they were building, and a deep sense of responsibility. "You know," she said to her companions, "when I was a little girl dreaming of the stars, I never imagined anything like this." Ixora placed a hand on Chen's shoulder, a gesture she had learned was comforting to humans. "None of us could have imagined this. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The unknown, the endless possibilities." Ramos nodded in agreement. "We've taken our first steps into a larger world. There will be challenges ahead, no doubt. But if we've learned anything from this war, it's that together, there's nothing we can't overcome." As night fell and the stars became visible above the city lights, the three of them stood in comfortable silence, each lost in thought about the future that lay ahead, a future where humanity would play a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the galaxy. The war against the Void Devourers had changed everything. Humanity had been thrust onto the galactic stage, proven their worth, and emerged as a force to be reckoned with. But more than that, they had forged bonds of friendship and understanding with species from across the cosmos. As Dr. Chen looked up at the stars, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead would be challenging, filled with unknown dangers and incredible discoveries. But humanity was ready. They have faced the darkness and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before.